Okay, sorry about that, viewers and listeners. We had technical difficulties. So, but we are still with Tom Freeman of Dark Moon Comics. So, Tom, while before everything went haywire, we were discussing about what makes you different from the act from other motion comics. You know, and you would please describe what really makes you special with the music and everything.
Yeah, as far as I mean, I think we come from a music background. A lot of the innovation was with the artists we use. We had like Micah Nine is a classic hip hop artist, and he did some very ethereal tracks for our soundtrack. Especially at the end, there's one that plays our motion comic that really just it adds an atmosphere. It's a unique atmosphere. We're not the first to do hip hop comics, but with the feel of the sci-fi and having some real unique hip hop artists, I think it's a unique musical style. So that doesn't normally happen. First off, and also in general, we try to create a completely immersive environment with our music. We actually have for fans that like the feeling of our comic, they can watch our motion comic and like the feel. We have additional soundtracks available. We actually have this is the first time I've announced this, but we have a hidden soundtrack coming out for our print customers that nobody else will have, and it takes them into a whole different world than our normal soundtrack. So we have all these kind of ways for people to check out our comic, especially with the added music. Like there's music videos. One of them has one of my like childhood hip hop favorites, Ad Capone, on it, and Chunk is on it, and they're they do a completely unique. They stay true to the story. There's no swearing. It's actually it's very interesting to have all these great artists, and it's all family friendly music you can listen to with your kids. Even it's no swearing, nothing, and but it still has a lot of the it definitely has a hip hop vibe, and it has an ethereal vibe. And that particular music video has animation, where we had an animator come in, take our comic art, and actually play out some animated sections of what it would look like as an animated series. So,
oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
That see, and the part that I like right off the top is the fact that you are. Especially with the hip hop, there is no swearing, no cursing, and to me that's a big plus in these days.
Yeah, it was great to work with these artists too, and kind of talk to them. Some of them, I mean, have never done a song that is kind of outside the genre of either gangster or of hip hop, where it's explicit most of the time. But we actually, for me, like one of my childhood hero rappers, Ad Capone, did a song. There's no swearing throughout the whole thing, and it's a creative song. I think it shows his art in a whole new light. And it helps out our comic, give it a whole different feel that nobody else could do because he's never done anything like that before. There's all these kind of unique musical stories about it, but we definitely got bailed out by I found a great artist on DeviantArt, Benedict Bana. People love his art, so it brings people in. The music might not be the number one choice for some people, but it brings everyone in, and he just does a great job on it. So.
Well, the good thing about it is that you're able to find someone that could, that's readily available and they're popular and everything, and you're able to bring it all together. And before I forget, what is Dark Moon all about for those folks who are in our audience who don't know exactly what the main premise is behind Dark Moon?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a huge fan of sci-fi, especially sci-fi with a horror edge, like Aliens, Prometheus, these type of movies. This is kind of that type of story. It's a sci-fi horror type of story, but it's about 7 survivors. There's a meteor that's unexpectedly going to hit Earth, and this is in the late 21st century. Dante is this a scientist that has been developing a prototype transporter, but it's just him and a startup project. He finds out that he has to use this thing. He transports himself and just a couple of his friends and other people that happen to be around town. They have to make a quick decision, and they end up on this moon with these suits on that they had. That this is in the future where they have a basic space exploration, available to the general public, at least people that can afford it. But he had, so he gets some people to this dark moon, and then unfortunately they find out that there's no air that they can tell yet. They're not sure, but they have limited air, they have limited water, limited food, and there's these creatures there, and there's also these dead aliens, and there's a mystery, and they're just trying to survive. They're getting attacked, and Dante's there to kind of pull them through the whole thing. He's the hero of the story, and that's the basic premise. And then it kind of goes on from there. We haven't released too much more, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Is they're trying to survive on this moon. It's it's dark, but it's not too violent, and not too not too gory. It's just kind of and it's also not too like dark. It's got that dark feel, but the actual story is a little more I don't know, like adventurous than dark and gloomy. So
okay.
So, yeah.
I got you. So now with with your production and everything, how hard is it now for you? Because I mean, it's hard enough to produce a comic book, at with any amount of set pages. To be perfectly honest with you, because but now you're taking it to a totally different level, because now you're adding motion, you're adding music. So how different is your process to develop an episode, or even if you call it an episode or an issue of Dark Moon?
It's kind of daunting, and that's why we take a long time between each issue, especially because we're not buying music from a licensed site. We're producing all the music live, and we also produce it with a full soundtrack, or like a full-length album in addition. So that takes a lot of time too to create the music. But actually, the whole putting it together, I can't talk enough about Madefire. They allow you to all the tools you need to put it all together in a pretty easy website. It's all web-based, so you log in there. You can pull in your images. You can pull in your MP3s of the music. And they're also their tech support is great. I had some problems before the first episode. They helped me out right in time, and they were able to solve all my problems. But basically, they made it pretty easy to accomplish what seemed like I didn't know. The first one was very difficult. I didn't know how it was going to come out. But they really do a good job putting the package together for you. And that's kind of it's weird that I came up with the idea to try it, and I found that they were just starting to get into it was in beta when I first found it. Now it's available to everyone, but it was at the perfect time for us, so
right.
So it actually makes it pretty easy. If you have the images and the music, you can take the layers of like a Photoshop image, and then amp them in and out. It's all pretty, like it tells you fade in here, move from here to here. But one thing though is, compared to these other comics, like the on Madefire, I was pretty intimidated because these people are geniuses with the way they move stuff around. Ours is a lot more plain in a way, but also I think it's powerful to sometimes have it plain and straightforward. So people loved it, but I was really worried at first because some of these animations that other people do, there's all kinds of details that I wouldn't have no idea how to do.
Right, and it's funny that you mentioned that because for somebody who just first jumping in, I literally you remind me of us when we first started, eyes wide open, just literally just jumping straight into it without having little or no background into it, and just seeing how everybody else is doing what they're doing, and all of a sudden I know what you're talking about, because when you first see all this, you get this overwhelming deer in headlights look at your eyes, and you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? So
Yeah.
So how did you overcome that initial fear of just saying, "What? Oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?"
Yeah. Well, like with the first one, we made a lot of mistakes. There was a lot of time we spent on things we didn't need, and it was just kind of we just survived on that first one. Now the second one, I know what not to do, and so now it was still a big job, but it's a lot easier because I know how to avoid all the stressful stuff. And
Mhm.
also, like I still say, like Madefire is great. It makes the job really easy. You just it keeps all the files for you, and organized in a nice fashion.
Right.
It's easy to find everything. There's a couple little hiccups here and there, but like I said, their tech support's great. And the other thing is my background. I test software, music software, and so I'm pretty organized. I have spreadsheets, and a
Right.
lot of it's spreadsheets and
Right.
tracking stuff. Like it takes forever, and a lot of people don't. You probably know this is they don't see all the stuff in the background where you're
No.
spending. Just to get this set up, you have to
Yes.
you set up all this technical stuff and
Hmm.
set dates and talk with people. But you got to do it. You got to love it, and that's definitely how you get through it all for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you on that. And so with Dark Moon and this totally different approach, how were you able to one find your audience and get the word out there that you got this different style of what comics should be.
Yeah, that was definitely difficult. Our Twitter is our main tool to get out and to talk to people.
Uh-huh.
We're on Instagram and Facebook. Social media in general is the way we kind of try to get out there. And so we're just hashtags and and just constantly. It's I find Twitter it's great because you can immediately connect with someone on a direct level
Mhm.
that you barely know from across the world. And so we've just been pushing real hard on the Twitter for quite a
Uh-huh.
while. And besides that, I think it's just, uh, it's definitely hard. We've been trying to go to some of the shows now too. I went to last weekend. I was at the Big Wow Comic Fest in San Jose,
Uh-huh.
and it was great. I met a guy there that was like, I love reading comics while listening to music, and I got him the comic with the CD, and he fell in love with it. So the shows, I'm sure you guys have a show out there right now, and
Right.
great way to network with people. And yeah, it's just a little bit every day, and I really think too it has to be it's all about the story too.
Hmm.
I'm so excited about where the story is going that I all everything else kind of I did all the Twitter, I pushing all that stuff because I know I want to get the story out there. So it's just kind of it's just a compelling story. I think I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we tell the whole story, but at least every issue has a very exciting moment. So we're just excited
Hmm.
to share each moment. So
Oh, I
um,
see. Now,
I was gonna quickly say about your Serenade comic.
uh-huh.
I can see that has some motion elements too. So I know you guys are kind of already have that kind of combination of moving elements,
Right.
music, and
Hmm.
I like some of the art there where it's like it was half skeleton, half the girl
Oh yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. That.
Uh,
Oh yeah, thank you. That is my wife's artwork. I wish I could do that.
yeah, yeah,
And that's all watercolor. And if you obviously you watch the little synopsis, and that the music that's in the background is actually the music is one of the tracks for the CD that goes along with the comic, which is along the
yeah,
same lines of what you're doing. And
yeah.
so my next question is with what you're doing. Is your stuff on YouTube?
Yeah, we have our music videos on YouTube, but
Uh-huh.
not the comic. Actually, originally, I was planning on. I didn't know with the first issue how it was going to come out. I was doing a print version, I was doing a digital version, and I was trying to do the Mayfire, but I didn't know. at the time if Mayfire was going to work for us because I'd never tried it before. So one of the plans was to do the whole version in YouTube as hire an animator to animate all the elements.
Right.
But I finally, when I got into Mayfire, I was able to use that software, and I was pretty happy with it. I figured out I can do this. And for a while, it didn't look like our print one was going to work. So I put all my effort into Mayfire, and it came out cool. And I just love that method. So I want to explore like an animated YouTube series, but right now we have the music videos on YouTube, which I think I love them because it's a great combo to watch some comic action with some music.
Right.
So that's all we have on YouTube though. Okay. And a couple of little short videos.
Okay. My suggestion would be seeing how Machinima and a couple of others have done with their animations, and realistically with what looks like with Mayfire and YouTube, Netflix, and everything. That is now becoming the I would have to say the 21st century networks. I'm gonna call a spade here. So so do you think that that perhaps with what you're doing, do you see even a need for these days that you're even producing a print comic?
That's it was kind of crazy because I had gone back and forth between do I do a print version, do I not?
Yeah.
The reason I ended up doing it was because in my head originally I had this vision of someone listening to a CD or streaming the music on Pandora or where
right.
listening and reading the comic and chilling and having that whole. As a kid, I don't do this as much now, but I was so in love with music that I could just zone out to albums all night long,
right?
And having some comics there, it was such a great experience that I knew I wanted to do that. Now at the end, financially wise, the print comic was, I mean, between you and me and everyone else, it was like, why did I do this? Because it was so much harder to do, planning the timing on everything. And,
right.
Our comic was extremely late because of some technical difficulties all around.
Right.
So I probably would not have done it, but I'm really happy to have it now. In fact, to push our music now, we're actually doing a radio campaign, college radio, where we're sending out a print comic, with the CD.
Right.
So it helps now to have that because I think it's cool for the DJs to have that. So I'm glad we did it, but I'm not. I don't know. Like it would have been a lot easier if we did it, but it's kind of behind me now, so I'm kind of happy I have it now.
Right. Okay. Which is totally understandable. And so with this, how do you because obviously you are definitely a numbers person. So so how do you track the success of what you're doing?
Yeah, I have a couple milestones. One of them is on Mayfire, you can see the views of a comic. And my main milestone was that so Clive Barker, from Hellraiser and all the horror stuff, he came out with a motion comic at the same time as mine on Mayfire, and I'm a huge Clive Barker fan. So basically, I'm just trying to chase Clive Barker as far as how many views he gets on his comics. And I would consider, I can keep up with Clive Barker, I'm happy. And
right.
Plus, his comic is, in my opinion, better than mine in a lot of ways. The animation's amazing. The artwork's, is different, but it's more that most people would like, or, it's more mainstream or for horror fans, at least. So I feel pretty good about it. He has like over 70,000 views on his. I have over 15,000 views on mine.
That's respectable.
So I'm almost in the same ballpark, at least around the, at least trying to keep, that was my milestone though. I started chasing his numbers because I'm like, shoot, if I could be, it's kind of, that's one of them. And then there's the other things, YouTube, and I have Bandcamp and SoundCloud.
Mm.
I don't worry too much about all the numbers altogether,
Right.
because it's not always a good indication of if people are really liking it or if people are interested in purchasing, blah blah blah.
Right.
I try to get what I really like is when is seeing people that really like it. That a lot of people have responded and saying this is really cool, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really kind of my metric for success,
Okay.
is trying to get people to say, oh, this is cool, I like this, and kind of seeing that.
Got you. So so with that, with all the positive responses, which is all good. Have you dealt with anybody being being a naysayer or saying that you've copied off of somebody, or
Yeah, definitely, especially and that's that can be it can be tough to deal with, definitely, because you put so much into this stuff. And I'm glad there wasn't. I was actually expecting more, because I had never done comics before.
Right.
And parts of it, I mean, like when I first looked at the other comics up on Mayfire, they were so intricately detailed, and mine was looking. I was kind of embarrassed because, like I said, mine is it's plain in a way. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have as much like these crazy movements and detail.
Right.
But I looked at it and I still think it really is a great a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't like the others. So I thought people were going to kill me for that. But really, I mean, my story is good. My music is okay. I think they're really great. But really, it's the artist. I found this guy. I hired Benedict Bana, this artist. I found on DeviantArt. I was looking on DeviantArt for an artist. I found him, and we gel great together. And if it wasn't his art, saves me, because if it wasn't for this like amazing stuff that people are looking at, that he does such, like, they're like paintings, each image. It's a very unique style. So people just fall in love with that, and then it gets me my stuff that would probably be hated on a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I get to sneak my stuff in there. People love it. So I got to give him a lot of the credit, because if it wasn't for his just amazing work,
Right.
It would be tough for me to push my kind of crazy comic and ideas and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. With any great movement, you gotta have people who are actually down with the program, literally.
Yeah, I can't believe that he can take, like, I drew the storyboards for all the comics, and they're like stick figures. But he takes all of them, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. He lives in the Philippines. I've never met him before. I've talked to him a lot, especially on email. But he connect, and we have this connection where he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of miles away. So it's I can't believe sometimes it's like he reads my mind, as far as exactly how the art should come out.
Right.
I don't even have to say anything. Like he just fixes it perfectly before I even respond. And, yeah, so it's great to have someone like that. Definitely.
Oh, definitely. So now, because now this is the other little idea that just popped into my head. Seeing where you've already got this going, dare I say the words independent movie?
Oh yeah,
with darkmoon.
That's why. I mean, I think we're getting ready to put out the next episode right now, and in between that and the third episode, I would really like to, because like you were saying about Netflix, even if it doesn't come out, it doesn't have to come out for screening. You can get on Netflix for a reasonable amount, and you can distribute yourself. And then there's plenty of people that are looking on, including me, that are looking on Netflix for something to watch. And so, I really would love to do that. I think we're still generating content, and I'm hoping, I would love to talk to the right person about making that happen. I'm too disorganized to take it any further than the cool thing it is now. But if I can find someone that that can take it to that level and has that level organization and abilities, that would be great. But I think we're trying to create something that people can see that hopefully, I mean, I think the idea of it, if actually in this next episode, there's something, I've kind of designed into the episode that's kind of scary, and there's a lot of unique moments that I'm trying, I hope it kind of sells itself as a, wow, what can we do with this? So, I mean,
right.
and also that animated video that I was saying, the music video, kind of gives people a feel for what it would look like if it was like this animated movie.
Right.
And it looks fun, so especially if we added in a little hip-hop element to it, which so on the soundtrack it has, I've never seen a sci-fi movie with kind of with a horror movie, but with a hip-hop, but not like, it has, but that vibe, but doesn't take away from the sci-fi-ness of the movies. And
right.
So, that'd be a great combo for me, I think.
Well, it seems that before I forget, stage32.com.
Okay.
Try networking on that site.
Sure. Okay.
But you seem to have found that perfect combination between sci-fi and horror, which for a lot, even in the movie genre, they trying to find that nice mix. They just don't seem to get. They can't do it. Because my wife and I are horror fans ourselves. And we're like the classic horror, where somebody's going to get ganked, but it's the suspense of it all. It's the
it's a visceral feeling of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that and with sci-fi horror, it's kind of hit and miss. I feel what really bails us out again is Benedict Bonus, his creature design, which I have to take some credit for. We went back and forth on the creature, the red alien from our first episode, and if that came out wrong, the whole comic would have been horrible. And so I was nervous because I was halfway through it, and he hadn't designed the creature yet. First episode, and I had a lot of money, put into this in different areas and trying to. And if this alien did not come out right, it was like, I don't even know if I want to put this out as it is, But when I saw him, when he came back with the alien, this is halfway through, and it was exactly like it was a classic scary alien, and I knew that the rest of the story was going to be great because I can work with that alien, and so. I think a part of it is the creature design. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the alien from H.R. Geiger and the original Alien. From all the that design, but I didn't want to copy that. And so I think he created a really cool alien design that doesn't copy any others, but it still feels like a classic. You see the image and it's just scary. It's just naturally scary.
Right. I got you. Now the thing that you hit upon is the money aspect, and this is the one thing that I want to present to our viewers and readers about independence. This is more than just a labor of love. If you out there have ever dealt with an independent anything, this is what separates us versus a corporate. We're putting our money where our mouth is. We're taking a great leap of faith, and for any investor out there, this is one of the first things that you should be thinking. If somebody who's an independent is coming to you for I don't care if it's $1. If for every dollar you spent, we spend 3 times as much, if not money, labor, time, effort. I mean, and we know how to do. You get as an independent, you used to know how to do a lot with little, and you don't waste money like in a corporation sometimes. True.
They'll write a check on stuff. But as an independent, you give an independent money, and we're going to be smart about it. Spend the money where it's necessary. I mean, one thing I wish I could draw better, but I can't. So I had to hire an artist.
Right.
And that that's for comic artists that are coming out that can write and draw. That's a huge advantage. I used to
Mm-hmm.
try to draw. I just knew that I'm just amateur. It's fine. But if you're actually, like a writer and you have to, if you want to do a comic, you're gonna spend a lot of money on it, with an artist and all that. So
Right.
yeah, and but yeah, you do get good at negotiation and talking to the right people and not just wasting your money on stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I did indie music for years, and yeah, you gotta do it for the love of it, and you gotta and really follow through on everything. Otherwise, you don't get anything back, or you don't get any. Um, you don't build anything if you don't just push every day.
Exactly.
Like I see you guys have a lot of stuff going on your website, a lot of different areas. Not all each area takes work and time. So then when people go to it, it's enjoyable, but they don't see the hours and hours and money and
Right.
travel and all this stuff involved. So
Yeah.
but it's there for people. I really do it for the fans. I almost with all the money and stuff was about ready to give up.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy. But it got some people that were digging it at the time
Uh-huh.
and liking the idea, and so it keeps you going. And and just kind of being able to share with people, that kind of stuff is a fun thing. So
No,
definitely, that's why we do it. Definitely.
no, that's true. Because I mean, I know me personally, I was at the point of just saying, well, been taking it on the chin, on the nose, everywhere else. Why even keep
Yeah.
pushing, but then one person from Canada, Kurt Sasso, came up and and a couple of years back and just as C2E2 of all places said, I admire you guys work, and I'm just like, really, I'm just like, so you do know about us, I mean, first of all, that's the first thing, because a lot of times, putting your stuff out there, sometimes you just don't get that response that
Yeah.
you saying, I mean, it's almost as if it's literally on the microphone. Is this thing on? Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people, yeah, there are people that, it's amazing you find these people that let how wonderful something is, because then you find out, wow, there really is a community out there, and there's cool people, because a lot of people won't, and a lot of people want to see you fail, or, and then
True.
they can say, blah, 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 I knew it the whole time, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, the creating the whole, um, room for people to people can now come on your website, they see all this cool stuff going on, or my comment, they can see all this stuff. You create the area for it,
Mm-hmm.
and people will appreciate it. It's just it's you get used to kind of not expect like it's maybe 1 out of 1,000 that you might hear from, but it's so wonderful to hear from that person. But it's a representative of the whole deal and everything. And
Yeah.
I think it's a small community, really, and but it seems like comics are pretty. There's a lot of other, like I did hip hop for years, and that's a lot more kind of cutthroat, or everyone's out just for their own thing, especially here in hip hop. But in general, at least in comics, there's a little bit of camaraderie, and
True. Yeah.
so that's a good part of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's true. I mean, if you could find the right people, I mean, it's just like with any industry. If you could find the right people to be a resource, then the community is pretty much open. We have with us 16 years, we have been blessed to come across a bunch of people who have who are just out there to help, and it is they're not hoarding information like it's it's like some kind of top secret recipe or anything like that. So that has been a huge help for us to keep us going and growing. So where do you see Dark Moon going, in short term, long term?
Okay, yeah. I mean, so I've kind of committed to doing 3 issues, 3 episodes. I call them episodes because we mainly are doing the motion comic.
Right.
It's only one collector's issue of the first episode, but I'm doing 3 of those, which really get the story. It kind of it completes the beginning of the story, and it leaves a kind of cliffhanger ending. But I think it's for fans. I'm just, I'm not getting rich off this, and I'm kind of still pouring money into it. So I'm getting to the 3rd episode for the fans and for myself because I just love doing it. It's a fun thing to do. And then after that, we're kind of gonna have to seek funding or seek, at that point we'll be where we're considering maybe like a movie, like a Netflix, an animated series. We'll have more to tell, but we have to kind of consider where to go. So Dark Moon will kind of be, kind of completing its initial episode at the end of this year, and then we're going to hope that we can kind of continue with that. Either way, I'll be happy even if it ends there because it's going to be a lot of fun. Just those 3 stories together. From there, also, I'm interested in doing sound for possibly a different motion comic. I have a lot of sounds I've generated, so I might be working. I haven't talked to anyone yet, but I can see myself working with a separate comic just doing some of the sound, or I have some other comic ideas. So depending on, I could be starting something different, or could do Dark Moon. Kind of keeping that open, but there's so much work right now and so much fun to do. I really love comics. Like this got me into comics a lot more than I was before. I've been going and collecting issues and going to shows, and so I've really been just digging it more than I ever used to. So just kind of enjoying learning more and see where that takes me. So.
Cool. Yeah. Well, to me, it sounds like everything is in place. And dare do I say the words? In these days and times, it seems like crowdfunding is the source for independence. I'm going to withhold judgment on that because we've tried it, and but for others, there's several. You got Indiegogo, GoFundMe, Kickstarter.
I've definitely considered that for like post issue 3, but I don't know. I thought that I've had experiences with things like that, and it's not always the easiest thing for me to do. And I feel like sometimes like I might be the kind of person where it kind of doesn't work out right, But it is something that that's one way to kind of just at least see if it see if it works. We thought about doing that originally, but I thought let me just try to get through it without that because I thought it would take away from the pushing of the actual comic itself and but yeah, that's an interesting whole area, and definitely if we want to continue going, that might be one of the routes we're considering for sure.
Okay. Well, if anything else, folks, you heard it here. So, so we have been talking with Tom Freeman of Dark Moon. You know what? I won't even want to call it a comic anymore. I would have to say, I won't have to sit back and really create a new category for this because it's technically speaking, it's not a comic. You can say motion comic, but it's
experience with the music videos. It's kind of we're kind of crossing the lines there, but that's kind of fun.
Right. So to me, so my advice to you, all you out there is, check them out. Pretty soon, Tom gave us a link to do a review. It's okay, and also the other thing is also throughout all this, you will have seen clips from the show and everything, and so give them a try. If you like what you see from Tom, let him know. If he gets more people to say, go, hey, we'll support you. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Tell them to start that campaign and make it happen.
Yeah, it's about we love hearing from the fans. Definitely, it's always great to hear from people that enjoy it. So for sure.
Exactly. It's all, and it's all about the fans all the time. So,
Shout out to Kiss Me Comics too.
oh, thank you.
Really love the organization. It's a really good take on comics. Lip service, hashtag lip service. It's I've been listening to a lot of them recently, getting ready for the interview, and it's a very cool show. Very fresh take on comics, and I think you really get a lot out of the guests. So,
No, thank you.
I recommend checking it out.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and before I forget, where else? Get ready to wrap this up. Where else can people find you?
I'm mainly the motion comics at freematic.deviantart.com.
Okay.
And then we're pretty much it's just a / darkmoon comic, Twitter darkmoon comic, Facebook / darkmoon comic, and or /. And we're pretty much if you search for darkmoon comic, all is one word, you'll find us all over the web. So
okay, cool, excellent. And of course, listeners and viewers, I will have the links down in the description below. I know a lot of times, sometimes I am remiss, but when I do a lot of late night editing, and I don't always get the opportunity to put all the stuff in until the next morning after a video upload, and I check to make sure that the video quality is correct. So, but this concludes this episode of Lip Service, and always, we ask you to keep an open mind. This industry is open, is wide open now. Thanks to the internet, thanks to people finally being not afraid, as my wife has put it, not afraid of being diverse, not being afraid of being an independent. Okay, whatever is out there, that you can find your niche. And if you like what we are doing, like and subscribe. I'm sitting on a whole lot of content that I haven't got out yet because time. We're getting better with getting stuff. As the more we do, the easier the process gets. And if there's a certain independent out there that you want us to interview, drop us a note. Reach out to that person and say, hey, I know what's going on. So always subscribe. So that way when the new show comes up, and I've been getting good with this, the following week, hopefully there'll be a new show up. So. Oh yeah. So and if there's any actually I need to check to see if there's any questions or anything. I don't see anything just yet. And always, if there's any questions, especially now that I know if that is going through Hangouts on air, if you got questions, put it down there or put it down in the comments, and myself or Tom will follow up with that. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So Tom, thank you so much for being our guest on Lip Service.
Thanks a lot for having me.
And we'll be right back either with a review or something. We'll be right back.